This episode on Curious Journey, the ruins of a 19th century luxury spa and resort are the centerpiece of a new city park. Turn-of-the-century architecture is preserved to provide interesting features for visitors, mostly the local residents of San Antonio, Texas. The resort was once the go-to destination for the restorative properties of its mineral springs. The lineup of guests including movie stars, political elite, and all manner of movers and shakers, not just from Texas, but the nation. It was such a warm and welcoming venue that some of its guests may have never left. But before you leave, please consider pressing the subscribe button. It's free and supports the channel, making it possible to continue creating more content for you. Now, on with the story. In 1892, an artesian well containing sulfur water was discovered in a property owned by, of all things, a lunatic asylum. A man named McClellan Shacklet decided to lease the water and pipe it to the current site of the ruins. In 1899, a group of investors purchased the property and decided to build a large hotel and sanatorium that would be based around the restorative properties of the springs. Indoor swimming pools with marble partitions and separate facilities for men and women, along with Turkish, Roman, and needle steam baths, were constructed over the next 3 years. Many of the individual guest rooms had modern conveniences such as electric or gas light and even telephones. There was even an ostrich farm relocated to the property to provide feathers for ladies' fashions at the time. The hotel enjoyed several decades of success. Big names like Charlie Chaplin, Will Rogers, and Theodore Roosevelt frequented the hotel and enjoyed the hot medicinal waters of the resort. But everything comes to an end. The Depression of the 1930s, along with several catastrophic fires, closed its doors forever. For many decades, the property lay abandoned, even though the hot springs continued to flow. Attempts were made but failed to restore the hotel and make use of the springs somehow, until finally it was decided to stabilize the ruins of the remaining buildings and incorporate them as a feature for the city's parks and trails. But since then, there have been accounts from city workers and park visitors about curious happenings, voices coming from the area of the bathhouses, splashing, laughter, happy and raucous conversations are heard, then suddenly end when you turn to the perceived location of the source. Others have seen women standing by the windows in the hotel ruins, even though the ruins are blocked off, and there is little structure left of the individual guest rooms. The women are described as being dressed in turn-of-the-century garb, just looking out the window, only to disappear when you blink or turn away for a second. Walking the grounds myself, I had a feeling of being watched, especially as I approached the building from the front or from the back, where the bathhouse is located. But it was not a malevolent or even threatening feel. It was more like when you walk into a crowded room, when you are the next guest to arrive at a party already in progress, and everyone turns to see who it is. Based on these accounts and my experience, I think the residual activity is present here, as the hotel was no doubt a very popular and high-energy place during its time. It may be that the sudden closing in the early 30s was too soon for its jovial, high-caliber clientele, too soon for the party to end. So why not enjoy a stroll through the striking ruins of an interesting past? Learn a little about the hotel's role during early Hollywood, and maybe, possibly, run into a star or two. Hey, thanks for all the subscriptions on this my first year as a YouTuber. I will be back with more content for you, but until then, have a safe and happy new year.